Australian Women Speakers Livestream show, which is all about showcasing amazing women speakers and the huge amount of talent that is out there so that we can change the stats from 30% women speakers to 50. And I love showcasing amazing women. And let me tell you, I absolutely am delighted with my guest today. Sally, it's very great to have you here. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. Fabulous to have you here, and welcome.
Thanks, Jules. It's an absolute honour and a privilege to be able to hang out with you for a little bit and chat all about speakers, especially women speakers.
Yeah, fantastic. So let's start off by, if you can tell us a little bit about your topic, what you like to talk about and why.
Oh, thank you. How much time have we got?
Plenty, go for it.
Look, I'm absolutely obsessed with middle managers. And one of the things that makes it so for me is that I have been a middle manager. And when I was in that position, it's to me, it's like a donut, right? You're the hole in the donut. You're surrounded by so much going on. You're surrounded by so many people, being pulled in so many directions, but you're that hole in the donut where it's lonely and it's isolating, and it's sometimes you don't know whether you're Arthur or Martha, coming or going. You don't know which boss to serve. You don't, and
and how you're going to get up higher.
If you want to get up higher, right? Yeah, definitely. And so I found that incredibly challenging, and at the same time, I knew that the people that I was responsible for, they had a lot of respect for me, but I didn't know if I was doing a good enough job. And then, then when I got into the C-suite and could see it from a whole other angle, it became a bit of an eye-opener about how our organisations are not leveraging one of the most powerful positions in the organisation. And that's what I'm on about, helping our middle managers be confident leaders.
Oh, fantastic. I love anything that is focusing on sort of a neglected sector. And I think that middle management absolutely fits the bill there. So have you got one keynote? Do you have a couple of different topics around that, or is that the main one?
I have two keynotes that are aligned with middle managers, but they serve two different audiences about middle managers. And so I do have a keynote, Lift Them to Lead, which is targeting the C-suite and the whole organisation, in understanding that middle managers are the conduit of the organisation, and there's 3 C's: conduit, communication, and culture. And so it's about how we need to leverage the fact that they are in the middle. And so when it comes to them, they are the translators of strategy. Excuse me.
Yes, true.
And then also, no one else in the organisation is perfectly positioned to communicate in a way where they get to inspire down, collaborate across, and then influence up. And so, again, why are we not leveraging this even more? And then the third element is that because of the actual positioning of a middle manager, they get to be the tapestry weaver of the culture of the organisation, because they can be so inspirational to the front line. They get to, they get to collaborate across, and therefore build stronger management teams that are being even more effective and driving more productivity and influencing that culture of the organisation. So that 3 C's, Lift Them to Lead keynote, is really about helping organisations, particularly the C-suite, to really have high-performing middle managers. And then the other keynote is for middle managers.
Yeah.
And I think of it like a hamburger, the best bit of a burger.
I love your analogies.
Yeah.
All food related, I notice.
Just a bit.
Okay.
But the best bit of a burger is in the middle, right?
Yeah.
You need the buns, you need the top and the bottom, but the best bit's in the middle. And so I pull apart this burger metaphor with the 5 key ingredients to high-performing middle managers, with a bit of secret sauce in there as well.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I just love the analogies. I think that's really clever. So what sort of audiences do you like in terms of size? Do you prefer smaller groups? Do you love talking to 500 or 1,000? And, any particular gender, any particular industry?
Look, I think I'll start with the last one. When it comes to industry, you would have had this yourself. What industry are you in? And I'm like, any industry that has a middle manager. And they're like, yeah, but what industry are you in? And, you know, you
Right.
fill in a form and they ask, what industry are you in? And it's like, could you
I
just
always have
add,
to do other.
that's right. That's right. And it's like the middle manager industry,
Yeah,
because
right.
there's enough of them for it to be an industry. So, to me, when I have had the absolute honor and privilege to help middle managers in a huge variety of industries, from oil and gas to early childhood,
Okay.
you know, and all points in between, as well as in, you know, from Australia to the Middle East and all points in between. And so there's a lot of commonality in the issues that middle managers face. So
Right.
industry, anything. The gender, everyone.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I love working with anyone who wants to do their job better, whether they want to just improve. And so they love being in the middle. They just want to find ways to improve how they're doing things, or they want to move. They've got the eye on the prize, you know. I've also helped people remove. So,
As in have been C-suite and just don't like it there and want to move sideways? Is it something like that?
yeah, they've been promoted into middle management, and they find that they're moving away from their widget making
Their core.
expertise.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, they want to get back on their tools and not have to deal with humans. And so we find ways to respectfully and you know, in a dignified way, return back to their expertise and their joy, which is the most important part, because then they're productive. And then audience size, any size. If you know, even my dogs are my audience some days.
So there's nothing too small for you.
Nothing too small, nothing too big. You know, and I think at times it depends on whether I'm actually delivering a presentation versus any other modality of helping middle managers be better leaders.
Can I ask you, and I know that I haven't briefed you on this one, but what's the biggest audience you've ever spoken for? I'm just curious.
Oh, I think, you know, I should really pay attention to those stats, shouldn't I? I think, well, just this year, the biggest one this year, there was 1,800 people at the conference. So I don't think I had 1,800 in the room at the time, but it was an 1,800 person
maybe
conference.
1,000.
There was standing room only.
Wow.
In the session I was in. So, you know, that was pretty big this year. I really don't know.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I was just curious.
But
okay, so
I will start to pay attention. So thank you for that. That's good. Yeah.
It probably doesn't matter. It's a little bit like saying how big is it? It doesn't really matter. It's about how you do it and how they work. So so talk to me a little bit about your background and what you've done that has led to you speaking. So, you know, how your career evolved, and then what was the magic moment when you decided to start speaking?
Sure. My very first job out of university was a recreation officer in a psychiatric hospital.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that probably gave you really good background to be able to deal with audiences.
So it's definitely a welcome to the world of work in a very weird way, but a wonderful way. I look at, excuse me, I look back on that experience of being able to help the patients using sport and recreation and leisure activities as part of their development and part of returning to healthy living. And so, you know, if I look at every single job I've had as an employee up until when I started my own practice, there is me helping. And so service is a massive value for me. And I have always been in roles where I'm actually either helping or developing others. So even, you know, I worked at Guides Queensland as a development officer. I've worked in a halfway house helping people. And it was quite fun because we had the very first time ever we took the residents, people with mental health issues, took them for an overnight camp. And it was just delightful.
Oh my God, that must have been fantastic and
hilarious. It was absolutely fantastic to go through the process of helping people get out of their comfort zone in a safe way and go overnight and camp and have a campfire and things like that. So that was a good memory. Thank you, Jules.
And was that, hang on, I have to ask you a little bit more about that one. Was that the first time for some of them that they'd ever been camping? Because I can imagine that they don't get out very often.
For these people are living in the community, so it was a halfway house,
Right.
and but for almost all of them, I think they had
They'd never done it before.
never camped. One or two
What an
had, but
experience.
mm.
Amazing. Anyway, see, sorry, go on. I just was really intrigued. I've got this vision of them going, woohoo, like sky, and we can do whatever we want, and being in the bush and maybe seeing spiders.
I think there was a lot of just taking in nature
Yeah.
and getting out of the suburbs and taking in nature. I think was a really valuable opportunity, and it's quite calming. And I mean, I don't know about you, but when you sit and look at a campfire, it can be quite meditative and mesmerizing. And so I think there was a calming element to it, and just it was just delightful. And I hope they continue to do it, but that was a few years ago now. But when you line up all the roles that I've had, the golden thread through it all is that I've been I'm in a helping phase. I'm a helper. Yeah, I'm a helper. Mm.
Amazing. And so, so you've been helping and doing this career. At what stage were you at? And I'm guessing it's after your middle management role that you decided, I want to get up on the stage and help other people and do it on a bigger scale.
So my husband and I ended up living in Abu Dhabi for a few years, and it was good fun. And so I've done an expat stint twice now, and so I have a sense of adventure. And when I got to Abu Dhabi, I only had 1 or 2 subjects left for my MBA, so I finished that, and then thought, okay, now what do I do? Believe it or not, I ended up working for the Australian government in the UAE. So I had sworn to myself when I left Australia I'd never be a public servant again. And the irony was I became a public servant in my own country's government, but overseas. So I did a pilot project for the Australian government, which was good. Wanted something different. And in my networking, while I was there, I met a lady who was a corporate trainer. And so I said, so what's this corporate training business that you're doing? Tell me a bit about this. And so she explained it to me, and I said, that sounds like fun. How hard is that? And she said, it's not really very hard, but you do have to know what you're doing. You have to know your topics. And so she unpacked it a little bit for me. And I said to her, do you think that's something I could do? And she said, well, I know you've presented at the chamber and you've presented in our networking group. So yeah, she organized an interview, and that's that. I worked for a corporate training company. Then when we eventually came home to Australia, I felt like I would be unemployable. So I started my own practice as a trainer, facilitator, and then added in the speaking and the coaching and authoring. So yeah.
Was there a bit of a moment where something happened in your corporate training where you went, I actually want to get up onto bigger stages?
There was no kind of aha or moment like that. It just seemed to, I think it was more when I got back to Australia, in order to sell myself as a facilitator or trainer, I needed to go to networking functions and present and be known. We came back to Australia into Sydney. I'm not from Sydney, so I needed to really go hard and meet people, network, present, because in this game, it's often you need to be seen to then be recommended and referred. It's
not just that game, it's a lot of different games that you need that profile. Yeah,
absolutely. And so it sort of just ended up being added into the suite of things that I do. And so I obviously I spend a lot of invest a lot in also being good at this craft, and we can always improve. So I've done that along the way as well.
Right. And a question that I'm intrigued by, again, I keep throwing you these ones that I haven't told you about. How do you get your gigs? So how did you get gigs in the early days? Because I'm sure there'll be women listening going, I want to be like her. How do I do it? And then how are you getting your gigs these days?
So absolutely I actually, when we landed in Sydney, I Googled networking Sydney. Right. Well, that only gave me a couple of million hits, right? So I actually set myself the goal of going to one networking event per week minimum for 6 months.
Right.
And so I sort of gave my husband a kiss on the cheek and went, I'll see you in 6 months. Because I just went hard. I wanted to be known. I wanted to know people. I wanted to
Yeah,
be visible. And, you know, if you're not visible, then how can people think of you and how can
exactly.
people recommend you? So I went to almost, you know, I went to the opening of an envelope. You know,
Right.
that's what it was
And
about.
at these events, were you asking if you could speak?
Once I got known, once I got to meet a few people, once I found out, and actively, I didn't wait for someone to come and ask me. I didn't sit on the bench, wait to be asked. You've got to go,
Right.
you've got to go
Yeah,
ask. And
well
it's about,
done.
and you have to say, so who organizes your speakers? What are the sort of the topics that you look for? And sometimes you're a hit and sometimes you're an absolute miss, you know. When I was early days, I was invited to speak to a lot of Rotary groups. Now, for my topic and for what I was speaking about back then, it really was not a good match. And that's okay.
Yeah.
However, they still wanted someone to come in and present. And I think they wanted a pulse to present, and I needed practice.
Oh,
So
so that's actually a really good tip for anyone who's up and coming. Go and
mm,
talk to Rotaries.
reach out to everyone,
Yeah.
because believe it or not, a lot of these groups are looking for new presenters. They
Yeah.
don't want to rinse and repeat. They want fresh content. They want a fresh face. And so if you don't have a list of all the Rotaries within a, you know, driving distance, if you've got a car, a 200-kilometer radius, go.
Right. Yeah, that's actually really, really good advice. Can I ask, how long have you been speaking for?
Well, I came back to Australia in 2010, and so that's when I
Okay.
started my business. So that's what sort of the marker is, what I would say. I joined, and how I sort of also got into it was that I joined the National Speakers Association of Australia, as it was called then, and
Which you're now vice president of.
which I'm vice president. Yes, I become the president.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm the president in March. The power will
Woo!
go to my
Oh
head.
my goodness, gosh. I can't believe you're giving me the time to interview you. Thank you.
Of course. But we become, you know, I came in that organization, joining it, doing Speakers Academy. And so
Okay.
I'm not trying to plug that.
No, but
It's
that's
more
where,
about go and do these things, go and
yeah,
find courses and resources. And I still am focusing on my education as well. So it's go as far and as wide as you can within your budget to consistently learn. But at the same time, when you go to these courses and you show up at these events, it's a visibility game. I did Speakers Academy, and then I joined the chapter leadership team in New South Wales,
right.
because I got to meet more people because I was more visible by volunteering.
Yeah,
So,
right.
you know, that's not for everyone, but that's what worked for me.
No, but it's also create your own luck. Like go out and look for it. Don't just sit back and wait for it to happen.
Yes.
So, going back to your talks now, what would be the two main takeaways that people would get from either or both of your talks?
I think that for the lift them to lead, the more general, broader C-suite presentation is challenge the thinking about how you are leveraging the value of your middle management. And
Right.
how are you helping your middle managers to step up into the positioning, and I don't mean, you know, hierarchical positioning, but into the positioning that you want them to be at. So many C-suiters say, I want them to take the initiative. I want them to proceed without permission. You know, we trust them. We just want them to get on with it. Well, what are you doing that makes them think that they can't? So I want to really challenge some of those assumptions there in a very respectful way, of course.
Yes, but I love anyone who challenges the status quo. So great.
Yeah, definitely. And then for the middle managers, my little burger, I really want people to tap into their own awareness of just how good they actually are, and really owning their potential and amplifying that self-belief, and understanding that these key ingredients lead you to be the influencer that a lot of middle managers want to be. And therefore, when they're more influential, they're more confident, they get more done.
Yeah, I love that. I love both of those takeaways. All right. Now, you've been speaking for a long time now. Have you got any stories of particularly memorable talks that you've done where, I don't know, I mean, it could be the size of the audience, it could be something that went wrong or went right. Have you got any stories that you could share?
You always get some interesting feedback, and so I was doing a bit of a session for a conference where they wanted the after lunch energizer, and so I said, well, I'll do that. I'd have some fun with that. I can facilitate, and so I got people up doing a whole range of different things, and afterwards, someone came up to me and they said, I really at first thought, oh, we
Here
have
we go
to go
again.
and here we go. It's going to be like role plays or something like that. But you know what? Your session didn't suck as much as I thought it would. And
Well,
I thought,
there's a compliment.
I'll take that. People are funny, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
There you go, right? And that person and I, we're still connected. And every once in a while, I get a little message through from them that says, "Are your sessions still not sucking?" And I just think, how beautiful is that, right? So,
Yeah, I love
and the
that.
fact that we're still connected, because that was years ago. Another one was a recent event where the conference organizer, in our briefing, we thought we really want to mix it up and do something different. The underlying theme was to unlearn in order to relearn or learn new.
Right. Yeah.
And so how do we do something different? And he was challenging me to say, I want you in the middle of your keynote to have something where we turn all the lights out.
Oh, wow.
And we go pitch dark. And so I thought, I'm up for a bit of an adventure. Let's do it. And so we did that. We created the keynote, and I halfway through, I said, you know what? I need people to just stop for a moment. Let's have all the lights out, please. Can we have every bit of lighting out, please? And then all of a sudden, you could then see who was on their mobile phone.
I bet.
Which I thought, I'm going to make a moment of this. I just started giggling, and I said, okay, you're all now busted. Get off your phones. And so, a bit of a ripple of laughter through the audience. But the interesting thing about doing all the lights out and total darkness was apparently there was a conference in the next hall who thought that there was a power outage and panicked and wanted to come
it went out for them as well.
Well, no, but they heard that the lights were out, and so
right.
they wanted to come over and help us. I didn't even know any of this until afterwards, but I thought, well, there you go. I was making a reputation in more than one conference at a time.
Indeed. Can I ask why they wanted the lights out? Was there a reason behind it?
Because he wanted people to he wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
And having it pitch black would be different, as opposed to just the house lights down,
Yeah,
which we sometimes do. We bring the house lights up or we bring the house lights down, but he wanted it black. And we had a full, the screen was the length of the stage, a really long stage, and it was a full screen, top to bottom.
One of those ones with multiple TVs on it.
Yeah, it was very, very, very impressive, very hot. And so we went total darkness, total black, because I think also that's doing something different.
Yes.
It was also that pattern break.
I was going to say, I've never heard of it before, but it's interesting to kind of stop and then start again, and everyone's kind of refreshed, I guess, and kind of, surprised by. And what, did you turn the lights off for a long time?
No, with the lights off, I asked 3 key questions.
Oh, you were still talking while the lights were out.
Oh, yeah, I was still talking. So when the lights went down, we just took the pace a little bit differently, slowed it down a little bit. And then while you're in this moment, allow yourself to reflect. And I'm going to ask you 3 questions. And so we just did that with a much calmer,
nice,
much
that's
softer.
really lovely.
And then could I please have the lights back up? And then I had something funny on the screen. So yeah.
Could have a bit of fun.
Yeah, like you must have stories coming out the wazoo of all the different experiences you've had.
And one of the things that I'm known for is being funny, but I can't tell a joke to save my life.
I saw your post this morning about I can't tell a joke, but Everybody
Yeah.
was calling about laughing. What was that about?
Well, one of the things that I'm known for is that whatever's happening in the moment, if I can find something humorous about it, I want to share that with the audience.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that they don't miss out on the giggle that I'm getting, because I think if I can provide the funny around that, then everyone loosens up a bit.
That's
and
right.
when we're laughing and we're loose, we learn and we lean in. And so, that's how it's been for me. And I think that it just allows people to connect a little bit deeper as well.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. But what happened specifically, without naming names, you don't have to name names, that you did that post this morning? What happened that you had everyone laughing?
Oh, I don't remember the post this morning. What? Oh, sorry.
Oh, you've got a post this morning. I was literally on LinkedIn having a little snoop at you before we did the interview, and your post said something like, anybody who knows me knows I can't tell a joke, but at the moment I've said something or done something at a talk, and all the people are telling me that I should be a comedian.
Oh, I get that a lot, actually.
Again, I'm putting you on the spot. It's probably something that was scheduled, but
no, well, it probably was scheduled, but I actually get that a lot. I get told that that for years I had a Julia Morris kind of sense about me.
Yes, that's what you said in this thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
right.
yeah. I've got the sassiness of Erin Brockovich from the the movie, the Julia Roberts version of Erin Brockovich. I've got the sassiness of that. I do have a caring and nurturing side, a bit like Oprah. So I got named Oprah Brockovich once. So I'll take that. That's not bad.
Yeah, I would take that too. I think that's very cool.
I'd take their pay packet for sure. So yeah, Celeste Barber was the one that I was referred to just this week, actually, because
yes, I think that was what the post said at the end. Now,
that I was being a bit playful for a video shoot, and he just said, I can see you doing Celeste Barber. I said, you know how annoyed I was when she came out, because that's it. I was so jealous, because I would do exactly that. That's the type of person I am. I was the kid that always got dared to do something. And so, my hat tip to Celeste Barber, because that is absolute gold. Just, Yeah,
no, she does great stuff. She does. And I think in the early days, I thought, wow, fancy having the lack of bodily kind of shame, whatever it is that a lot of women have, to be able to just get up there and play. And she does it so well. So well.
It real.
And I love it that all the stars now follow her, the ones that she's been making jokes of over time. Look, Sally, I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours. You really are an amazing woman. If somebody's been listening to this and they would love you to come and speak at their event, or they want to have a chat with you about whatever, what's the best way for them to get hold of you? I'm hoping you're in the Women Speakers LinkedIn group. I've just invited you, but so they can find you there. But where else? What's the best way to get hold of you?
Well, there's only one of me in this world, which is probably, as my my family would say, thank goodness. So Sally Foley-Lewis. If you Google my name, you'll find me. Sally Foley-Lewis, FOLEY-LEWIS. And so you'll see me there. I'm first in Google, only because there's only one of me.
No, it's because you're special. Well, thank you so much for this. It's great to hear your stories. God, I could actually make this into an hour and get a lot more out of you. But anyway, hopefully we have showcased how amazing you are. For anybody else that's been listening, I hope you've enjoyed this interview. I'm sure you have, because Sally's great. If you do need a speaker, and we were talking earlier about how organizations want fresh faces and people like Rotary are always looking, please do go and have a look at womenspeakers.com.au. Where we've got over 70 women, and it's growing all the time. Also, you don't have to pay a commission, and you can contact your preferred speaker directly and negotiate directly with them, and search for them by topic or location. You're also very welcome to do a post into the LinkedIn, and we've also got a Facebook group with well over 1,000 women in both, where you can tell people what it is you're looking for. And I can almost guarantee that a whole lot of women will jump on it saying, me, me, me. And if you are a speaker and you want to be found, then please go to womenspeakers.com.au and build a profile as we start building up awareness of the fact that we've got all these women together now. No excuses for saying you can't find women, and no more excuses for panels of male-dominated experts when we've got so many women that can also share their expertise. So thank you again so much, Sally. I've really enjoyed this.
Jules, it has been an absolute honour and a privilege. And so I want to thank you, and I want to thank you for what you're doing with Australian women speakers. It's been needed for a long time. And so you are leading the way, and thank you.